لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Allah Azza wa Jal tells us in the Quran, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. The translation of the meaning, and of His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates, that you may find tranquility in them. And He placed between you affection and mercy. Indeed, in that are signs for people who give thought. I will not give an introduction. I will cut to the chase. Sheikh Ahmed and Sheikh Ahmed, may Allah reward them immensely, had paved the way for a happy marriage. It's time for me to break that. And hopefully it does not reach that conclusion. But unfortunately, life is not always as rosy as we might think of it. Therefore, the topic, be positive, and conflict resolution is quite wide. And it requires a lot of points to discuss, and each point requires a lecture, believe you me. When I came to compile and gather the points of this lecture, I felt envious of the two previous honored Sheikh, because they gave the nice thing that we all want to hear. And now I am the bearer of bad news. But this is inevitable, this is life. Therefore, marriage, you can look at it from different ways. It can be Allah's paradise on earth, where you find the minute you enter your house, the tranquility, the affection, the compassion, the mercy. And always when we hear these words, we remember Mother Khadija. May Allah be pleased with her. The Prophet told her once, alayhi Khadija, this is the Archangel Jibreel, peace be upon him. He's giving you salam from Allah Azza wa Jal, and giving you the glad tidings of a mansion, of a house in Jannah, in paradise, made of a pearl that has no shouting, no loud noise in it, and you don't have to work. You don't become tired in it. The scholars justify this and say Allah rewarded her with the same thing that she used to do. And that is, she used to provide the same things to the Prophet ﷺ. Once he enters the home, there is no shouting, there is no nagging, there is no children giving him trouble. And he did not ever lay a hand in the house chores. She would take care of everything. So marriage can be like this. But on the other side, on the darker side, marriage can be a pit hole of hell. When you go in, it's torture. All what you hear is nagging, complaining, fighting. You could never have a peaceful conversation. It's shouting, cursing, slandering. Your blood pressure is always at the top. You're always afraid of having an angina or a heart attack. Always there is this misery that you feel. But there is a third type of marriage, which is in between the two. This type is like water, colorless, tasteless, and has no smell. Men and women live in such marriages that has no taste. They just want a shelter to stay under. They want to attend a restaurant where they can find a good meal. And occasionally, they may fulfill their desires and lusts once every blue moon. But there is no tranquility, there is no tenderness, there is no affection and mercy. Now, when we go to talking about marital disputes, no house is free of it. But we have to make a distinction. Not every disagreement is marital dispute or a conflict. You may disagree on tonight's dinner. You don't make a fuss out of it, and you don't call the UN to help you solve the resolution. But we are talking about conflicts. We are talking about real trouble. And to talk about it, it would be endless. It will take us really a very, very long time. So what we would like to put in a nutshell, why these differences and troubles happen, and what are the ways to prevent them, and what are the ways to solve them. So first of all, they will happen, but we may be able to prevent them or to reduce them. And if not, we at least have to know how to resolve them and to have what is known as rules of engagement. We have to know how to get things started. First of all, the conflict between the spouses the conflict has many reasons for it. It can be natural or human nature. So you are impulsive, she is calm. You are wise, she is wise, so that she wouldn't be angry with me. Or both of you can be stupid. It happens. Either maybe she comes from a background different than yours, so it's human nature. And some of the reasons might be related to social factors. His family, her family, and the friends, and the peer pressure, and the media, etc. And a lot of these conflicts are related to ignorance. When they are both ignorant of Allah's rulings, of their obligations, and of their own rights. If they have misunderstanding, then we have conflicts. So, just to put in a nutshell, few of the reasons we have these conflicts. For example, if you look into a marriage and you find problems, one of the prominent reasons for such a problem is lying. The man lies to his wife and she lies to him. Why do they have to lie? First of all, fear of intimidation. The woman is intimidated by the man. Why did you do this? She lies. He's intimidated by the woman. Why didn't you do this? I was this, I was that, and he makes a lie. Or for the presence of shortcomings from both sides. So they lie to hide their own shortcomings. Or fear of confrontation. Let me say that, please, at a time. Confrontation. The fear of confrontation. So many people have it in them that they cannot confront others. So even in normal discussion, they say, this is gray lie, or white lie, or technicolor lie. So they lie. It saves them for a few minutes, but this becomes a trend in their lives. So they lie every step of the way. And this causes a lot of conflict. Most of the problems that I have, that comes to me, not that I have personally, I'm happy married, alhamdulillah. I'll show you my scalp with the high heels on them, you will discover why. Most of the problems that come because of lying. Sheikh, he lied to me. He said that he was so and so, and I found out that he's not. He's cheating on me. she's watching pornography, she's doing this, he's doing that, and they lie and lie and lie, and inevitably the marriage would be dissolved. There's no trust. So how can we face such a problem? You have to, first of all, have transparency. Never lie. Running away from problems will never solve it. You have to face your problems. I have a bad son. I have a disobedient daughter. Neglect them. Engage in da'wah. Engage in work. Do this and just overlook it. No, it will not be solved. It will increase. You have to confront your trouble and your problems in order to get them solved with the grace of Allah. Transparency. Never lie. Know that the Prophet ﷺ would ignore any member of his family if ever detected that he lied once. He would neglect him. He would not look at him or her until there is sincere repentance and he senses it and feels it, then he will forgive. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Also, you have to overlook few of the small things that happens, the trivial things. Why do you have to make an interrogation to your spouse about trivial things? Look the other way. Move on so that you don't force your spouse to lie to you. Number 2, transgression and oppression. Being unfair or unjust. And this leads to neglecting your obligations. A man does not fulfill his wife's obligations, and she doesn't do the same for him. You have this among the men, when they have more than one wife. They lean, they're inclined to one side more than the other, and this causes conflict. He spends 3 days here and 1 day here. He buys her jewelry and he buys her vegetables instead. It's not fair. He takes her to nice places and he takes the other one to lousy places. This kind of treatment causes a lot of conflict. Also, we have this in some Arab countries. I don't know if you have it here or not. When the man consumes his wife's income, she's a teacher, she's a professor in college, she's a doctor, and he takes all of her salary, she gives it willingly because he's my husband, he takes care of the house. I'm contributing and building a house for us. Once he finishes the house, he gets married to another woman and he divorces her. Consumes her wealth. She, on the other hand, does the same thing. They live in America. There is a conflict. She goes to court, she takes half of his wealth. You Muslim? Yes. But the law allows this to be. And they deal with one another, not according to Quran and Sunnah, but rather according to what is good for me. And who cares what is good for you? And the solution for this is to believe that Allah is watching you. That Allah is all hearing and He knows what you're saying and doing. And if we have this in us, we would have the best of marriages. If I want to have dhulm on my wife, but I believe that Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who said, I have made dhulm prohibited upon myself and made it prohibited upon one another, so do not transgress against one another. It's Allah who said this. And the Prophet said, Al-Dhulmu Dhulumat Yawm Al-Qiyamah. It will become into pitch black darkness on the day of judgment. You will not be able to see your way on the sirat, on the straight path. That would inevitably make you fall in hellfire. So when you know that Allah is watching you, you fear Allah Azza wa Jal, you treat your spouse in a way that Allah loves. Number 3, jealousy. And jealousy is a topic by its own. We're not talking about the positive jealousy. I just got a question while I was in front answering it. A person says, an adult son. His father orders him to pick men of the age of 25 to 35 and bring them home to his wife, who is in her 40s, and she stays with them in the absence of the father. And the father, whose husband, is okay with that, and the woman is definitely okay with that, and he's asking, is the son sinful for this? And I did not answer this question, of course. I just wrote 4 or 5 words, and I said, is this his own house or a brothel? Who would allow such a thing in his house to take place? When men reach the level where they have no jealousy in them, it's over. The conflict is inevitable. So how to defy this negative jealousy? Jealousy can turn the house into a horrible life. When you have this desire to possess, the wife wants to possess her husband. So if he calls his mother, his sister, if he sends them money, if he visits them, she is jealous and she starts to make problems. The man is jealous of his own wife when she spends a lot of time with her children, who are his children, by the way. This is too much for him. He's jealous. He wants her to be attentive to him 24/7. When we have doubts, when each spouse doubts the other. I get calls, Sheikh, I want to divorce my wife. Why? Every time I enter the house, she's on the phone, and the minute she sees me, she hangs up. And I tell her, who is this? And she says, it's my cousin, it's my friend, it's my relative. So I'm doubting that she has an affair. SubhanAllah. What kind of doubt is this? Jealousy, but in the negative side. When you don't have transparency, this is what happens. So, in order to avoid this cause of conflict, you have to have transparency. You have to have communication skills. Sit together, have quality time, drink some cappuccino, take her out, do something in order to remove the jealousy from her. And you have to be objective. Be fair. And avoid free mixing. You can't go and mix with your cousin, female cousins, and your sisters-in-law and expect your wife to accept this. They say it takes 2 to tango. Islamic tango, that is with nasheed and duf, depending, not how. If you want her to accept what you're doing, you have to accept what she does in return. When she sits with her male cousins and when she sits with her brother-in-law, etc. And once jealousy is taken out of a household, it's destroyed. Among the reasons for conflict, violence, abuse, whether physical or mental, and this is caused by both sides being stubborn, challenging, argument, the weakness of the spouse, and incompatibility. When there's no compatibility, you get this sort of violent behavior. How to resolve this? You have to be patient. You have to move on. Don't concentrate on little things. You said this 6 years ago, and I could not forget it. And it translates into violence today. You have to forgive. You have to be content with what Allah Azza wa Jalla has given you. Compassion, intimacy, and to be frank and honest throughout this conflict. This manages to, inshallah, eliminate it. Among the reasons for conflict is being bored. And this is found a lot, especially in men. Because they have the option of getting a second, third, and a fourth. But unfortunately, dogs that bark do not bite. I know people for 25 years living with their same wife, telling her, I'm going to get married, I'm going to get married, my second wife is going to be this, my second wife is going to be that. and they never get married. Or what they succeed in is making their wife living in harm of the unseen, of the, this is haram. Why are you doing this? Sheikh, I'm bored. You bored, you do this? Why are you bored? Whether to the sister or to the brother. He said, it's the routine of life. It's the same thing. Same breakfast, same lunch, same dinner. Nothing else about the clothes are ironed. I go do the shopping. We sit. The same questions every time I come from work. Assalamu alaikum. How was work? I said, fine. How was your day? She says, fine. And we sit. We do not talk until Isha. Because it's the same thing. So they're bored. They don't have anything new in their life, and they have a lot of free time. This causes to be bored, and when you're bored, you pick up a fight. You start picking up a fight. You don't have anything better to do. So what's the resolution? How can we fix this? You have to renovate. You have to try to fix and bring something new to your life, such as a new wife. No, I'm joking. This would totally kill you. No, what to do? There are so many things. Yani, a trip to the Corniche does this. Once a week, going to a nice restaurant does this. Once a week, going for Umrah does this. This is quality time. You and her alone. This injects a lot of love in it. Also, it is best to not be thinking of being an idealistic person. You're not perfect, I'm not perfect. So try to live up to reality and fill your day with your wife with beneficial things. And fill your day with your husband with beneficial things, so that you don't get bored. Let's memorize one ayah, let's read one tafsir, let's go and race. Whenever I pass by this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, I get amazed. Someone with his daily schedule, and yet still have the time to invent and to involve new things and introduce it to his life. He's on a journey with his companions. He tells them, move on. He stays and his Aisha behind him. No one is inside. He said, Aisha, let's race. She races him and she wins. Few years later, she gains weight. The same journey, go and move on. Aisha, let's race now. And he races her and he beats her. And he says this for that. Who among us thought of racing his wife? One says, I do this every couple of days. I'm black belt jiu-jitsu, and I break her hand every now and then, and I smack her in the face, and mashallah, ya akhi, talking about racing, not talking about murder, she wrote. What are you doing? So look at this flavor that the Prophet is adding to his life, and look where it is missing in your life. For example, and I always tell my students this, when was the last time you sent your wife a text message just saying to her, I miss you? When was the last time you sent your husband a message? Other than, don't forget to bring the yogurt, the bread, half a kilo of mincemeat, and don't ever forget to bring my favorite juice, and an angry face, and devil with two horns. What kind of texting is this? I was in a good meeting and making good progress, and I saw this text class. I lost it. No, every now and then send her something. Send him something positive. A bouquet of flower, a bottle of perfume. Does wonders. Change this routine. Number 6, the interference of family. And this is one of the greatest means of conflict. When the in-laws interfere and the spouses allow them to do this. then you have a problem. When your personal affairs are being leaked to your in-laws, and all of a sudden you hear it from them that they know everything that's happening in your house, and your mother-in-law knows everything that's happening in your house. This is a cause of conflict. When your in-laws are 24/7 in your house, you come from the office, your mother-in-law and sister-in-law are there. Okay, once a week, no problem. Maybe twice a week, but every single day. This is unacceptable. So how to resolve this? By having a confidential, again, I have to repeat what it is. Confidentiality agreement. Men and women, when they get married, they should set the record straight. I do not speak to my family about you. You do not speak to your family about me. Why? If I imagine my wife is a normal wife, but if I go every time to my mother and say, my wife did this, my wife didn't cook well, my wife didn't let me sleep last night, my wife is demanding more money to change the furniture, etc. Even if she was the best wife on earth and I love her the most, my mom will hate her guts. And likewise, my wife's mother would hate my guts if she tells her everything negative about me. Because this is what we're good at. We never say the good things. Whenever I sit with my in-laws, I try my level best to lie my head off in front of my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. MashaAllah, my wife is the most beloved person on earth. I don't know what to do with her. She cooked something yesterday. Wallahi, I don't know how you raised her up. You have done a miracle. Until, khalas, they know, okay, come on, this is too much. But still, it makes them feel good. This enslaves your wife for a whole month. When they leave, she cannot repay you. You have done such a thing to her that she's enslaved to you. But wallahi, I have seen people shouting at their wives in front of their parents, of her parents. Shouting. Are you stupid? Can't you see? Every time I tell you, don't put this in that place. And her father and mother are sitting and watching with their hearts torn into pieces. So the influence, interfering of the parents causes a lot of conflict. Number 7, selfishness. When you're selfish, when you only care about yourself, irresponsible, when you keep on reminding your husband that I come from a higher, quote-unquote, caste. And this is found in some areas. I'm from a better family. I am more rich than your family. And when he keeps on being selfish and reminding her that he has the right to get married again and again, and I will get someone who's more beautiful, younger, richer, mashallah, $6 million woman. What is this? This is what they keep on doing this. Selfishness causes a lot of trouble. When you get complaints and you hear this so many times from your wife, you have to apply adab. You have to put perfume in your beard. You have to take care of your self-hygiene. Some of the brothers don't shower every day, once or twice. They shower once every week. Sometimes I pray in the masjid next to brothers. Subhanallah. Some brothers have odor of their body. Some other brothers, when you pray next to them, they have, oh dear. It is horrible. You don't know, shall I lead prayer? What is this? Imagine living with someone like that. Imagine living with someone with an odor in his or her mouth. So why are you taking care of yourself? I'm too lazy, I'm too tired. Selfishness. A woman must be in fit form. Her husband does not look except to something pleasing, does not smell except to something pleasing. And likewise the man, Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, he said he used to take care of himself. Applying body cream and putting gel into his beard and doing. And they say, what are you doing? You're the companion of the Prophet. He said, I like to look good and smell good to my wife, like I like her to look good and smell good to me. So when you're not selfish, when you start sharing, when you start compromising your daily routine, give some time for her just to please her, give some time for him just to please him, and start sharing it, then you will have, inshallah, a lot of good things to do. Finally, when there is stinginess in the house, we have a big problem. One of the worst characteristics of a man, when he is tight in spending, when he is stingy, a miser person. So we need this. Why? 2 weeks ago I bought you something like that. We need groceries. Why? Last week I bought groceries. We eat it. Why do you eat so much? Some of the brothers have Excel sheets. Seriously. And he gives this Excel sheet whenever his wife says, we need this or that. He goes, okay, in February 21st, you did this and this and this and this and this is, and I have the invoices, by the way. This, you cannot live with someone like that. So this is one of the worst characteristics a person can have, whether man or woman. A woman can have this. My dear wife, tonight I have guests coming after Isha, so prepare something. She says, okay. We get 4 people, but we get 3 coffee cups, 3 small plates of cookies or something. Like, what is this? I said, well, you said 3 are coming. Maybe they came 6. You have to be generous. It's not your money, it's mine. I said, no. We don't do this. You have to cook more food. You cook food for 2. I have 7. It's not going to be sufficient. This is bad. You have to be grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal. For a man, she will inherit the money soon. You'll die, and she will take it, whether you like it or not. So, enjoy life. Be generous. Be remembered as a generous person. Because this is the legacy that remains afterwards. But when people say, oh, Fulan, may Allah have mercy on his soul, he was wicked. He was tight. Man, this guy was this and that. This is bad. This is really bad. So, this was one part of the lecture. Just an eye-opener of the things that may cause conflict, which you, only you, can say in a checklist, yes, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. Might as well divorce. This is not a life. Or you say, no, alhamdulillah, I have only this one. I can manage. I have only 2 this, 3 or 4 of them. I can, inshallah, solve the problem. So, what are the rules of engagement? Inevitably, we will have to have conflict. But the scale is different from one person to the other. When the conflict takes place, what should we do? The Prophet said to us clearly that whenever a conflict takes place, a man's duty is not to insult a woman in her face. What do you mean by that? You don't say you have a face of a monkey, you have a face of a dog. Look at your face, you look like a gorilla. Every time I look at you, I have diarrhea. This is totally prohibited. Never insult a woman regarding her beauty. Never. One says, oh, she's not even beautiful. Nevertheless. Take a look at the mirror, Mr. Tarzan. If you look at the mirror, you're not even that handsome to begin with. So, what do you mean? You never insult a woman. This is prohibited in Islam, even if she is ugly, as we can all see. But insulting her in her beauty, in her face, is totally prohibited in Islam. You are prohibited from abusing her physically, especially hitting the face. This is prohibited for men and women. Face must not be struck. You cannot hit the face. It's haram, even if it's an enemy of Allah. Yes, even if it's fighting in jihad. You must avoid the face. This is what the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam. You are prohibited to prevent her from eating and drinking. So this is economical embargo. So I will not bring you food. I will not bring you things to drink. I'm disciplining you. No, this is haram. You have to eat. Feed her from what you eat. Give her drink from what you drink. Clothe her from what you wear. These are her God-given rights. So when conflict arises, you cannot do these things. You cannot hurt her or abuse her physically or mentally. And there are ethics to be adopted whenever the conflict takes place. So, first of all, you have to be fair and just. And this is not only in marital disputes. Even if I have a conflict with a brother at work, or a car accident, traffic accident, what do people do usually? They twist the facts. No, it was his mistake. He was speeding, he wasn't. I just want to win the argument. I just want to become on top. This is haram, and you will face the consequences on the day of judgment. A lot of the men don't have this fairness and justice in them. They demand their rights right now, and they forget their obligations that they have to fulfill. A lot of the women don't see at times of conflict except the very worst in their men. And this is a problem. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, about the women who are the majority of people in hell. So the women question this, why the Prophet of Allah? The Prophet said, they are ungrateful to their companions, to their husbands, and ungrateful for good treatment. This is something we can see in a lot of the conflicts among the spouses. A woman comes and says, my husband is this and this and this, and I've never seen him do anything good. And I do a lot of counseling, and I always hear this from women a lot. And whenever a woman says this thing to me, I say, my daughter, is there anything good in your husband? And then she stops and said, yes, he's a perfect man. But he does not do this and he does not do that. It's it. So I say, do you want to be divorced? She said, no. So why are you complaining then? It's very illogical how people think at times of conflict. And being fair, being just is ethical, it's Islamic, and whenever we apply it, we will find that resolving the conflict is the easiest thing on earth. And I've seen spouses fighting and coming to me in conflict, and mashallah, I don't have to do a lot of talking. He says, wallahi Sheikh, she did this and this and this, but to be fair, she's a good wife. She takes care of my children. And my mom and father loves her immensely. But this problem, Sheikh, and when she talks, she says all the good things about him, but this tiny thing that irritates her. So I said, Ukhti, why are you here? You are, alhamdulillah, living a happy marriage. Don't allow shaitan to inflate your trivial things and end up hating one another. Look at the bright side always. And this is the advice of the Prophet ﷺ. When he said, لا يفرق مؤمن مؤمنا إن كره منها خلقا رضي منها آخر. A believer must not hate something wrong in his wife, if he hates something, he would like so many good things in her. And whenever you complain of your car, my car, oh, it's old model, it has this, it has that. Does it have air conditioning? Yes, good. Is it taking you from one place to the other? Yes, alhamdulillah. Does it break? No, mashallah, it's good. So what's the complaint? It's not a Bentley. And this can be a disaster if you start to compare every car to a Bentley. You'll never be happy. See what you have and appreciate it. Among the ethics of conflict is to suppress your anger. When you suppress your anger, you can have a very good life and all the conflicts will go. Allah Azza wa Jal made the men guardian over their wives, correct? But this guardianship does not give you the right to abuse the right of divorce. Allah has placed the divorce in a man's hand. Unfortunately nowadays, the rate of divorce is sky high. Not only that, most of the conflicts and problems that people call me about is about divorce. Men have turned into an AK-47, known as Kalashnikov. He said, Ya Sheikh Allah, I gave my wife 12 talaq yesterday. 12? 3 is on the house and the rest is for you. Why did you do this? One of the brothers sent me a question a few days ago. He said, I said 3 talaq to my wife. Then I messaged her 3 talaq about 2 hours later. And I went to her parents and I told them that I divorced her 3 times. And I went to court and I wrote her an official letter and I stamped it and I gave her the paper. Sheikh, can we go back together? After all of this, you want to go back? Wallah, she's crazy if she goes back to you. You're not a man. She said, I was angry, I was impulsive. How long have you been married? He said, Sheikh, 3 weeks. With this track record, how long will it take you to kill her? This is not true. You have to suppress your anger. The wife has to suppress her anger. Do not abuse your husband. Divorce me, you're not a man. You are impotent. You cannot divorce. You are not a true man. You are a woman. You are a woman. And the man is, khalas, I get a problem from a couple. He says that my wife does this to me. So I said, don't respond. He says, Sheikh, she takes off my glasses and breaks them. Say, leave the house. He says, Sheikh, she stands in my way, takes my keys. And if I open the door, she threatens to go out without her abaya, without her hijab, and everyone will see. What kind of a lunatic are you married to? Wallahi, this is a true issue that comes to me. Not once, more than a number of times of women behaving like this. And then he says, Sheikh, I couldn't. It's been like 8 hours, sleepless. I'm not able to leave. After all of this, divorce me. I said, you divorced. She started crying for 6 more hours. You divorced me. After all this, we went through, you divorced me. You're unkind, you're unfaithful, you divorced me. A'udhu billah. The guy said, I brought a gun and I put it to my head trying to commit suicide, but there are no bullets. She took the bullets. We have a problem. Everything is so to the Quran and the Sunnah. We deal impulsively. We don't fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Among the ethics of Islam, loyalty. Even in times of conflict, you always remember the good times. Is it possible that you've been living for 20 years? No good times at all? Wallahi, it is impossible. And if you calculate and recall, you will find that the bad times maybe are 1%. And 99% you had an excellent time. But shaitan comes and builds on this 1% until it makes it like Mount Uhud. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. In the verses of talaq, in the verses of divorce, Allah says, and do not forget graciousness between you. There were good times. A man wanted to divorce his wife. So another told him, why do you want to divorce her? And the guy was shocked and said, an honorable man does not talk about his own spouse shortcomings. I will not tell you. So after a few months, he divorced her. So the man came to him and said, why did you divorce your ex-wife? He said, it's none of my business. She's someone else's wife now. This is honor. Unlike when you sit with someone, oh Sheikh, my wife did this and this and that. And he goes around every house complaining to his friend. I met a couple that were over 70 years of age. And he divorced his wife like maybe 115 times, and they came for counseling. She says that he divorced me almost 115 times. Every couple of weeks, he divorces. So I went to another gathering, and one of the elders, who was 80, 90 years of age, was there, and he was telling me, do you know this, do you know that, do you know this? And he came to this brother's, or this uncle's name. He said, yeah, the one who has problems with his wife. This is how he identified him, which meant that the brother used to go, or the uncle used to go to everyone he knows and complains about his marital problems. Life cannot go on like this. Do not forget graciousness between you. Whenever you remember the good times, it makes the conflict evaporate. And also, the ethics and the moral of forgiveness. Learn how to forgive. Don't always take, give. Giving sometimes expands your chest and you feel more comfortable when you do this. Allah also says in the ayat of divorce, and to forgo is nearer to righteousness. Each one has to forgive his spouse or her spouse. Each one has to learn that when you forgive, not only the return will be in this life, Allah will forgive you on the day of judgment. Okay. So many things to say. No, خلاص. If I stop, I stop. I have to forgive. One last characteristic that we all have to have is being kind, generous, and giving. In conflicts, the minute there is a conflict between a man and his wife, the man mistreats his wife by cutting all maintenance, provisions, financial expenditures. So the sister calls, she says, we're not divorced, we have a conflict, but he doesn't pay me, he doesn't pay the children, he tries to make life difficult through not giving us what we need from our allowance and provisions. And this is wrong. An honorable person never plays with finance. Your wife's rights, even if she's divorced, you have to keep that secured. Your children's rights, even if they live with their mom and you have divorced, you have to maintain their right, because this is Allah's right. A man with honor never makes the conflict affect his obligations or his rights towards his children. There are a lot of ways of resolving such conflicts, but the best of them all is to prevent them from happening. And how do we prevent them from happening? By constant training and conditioning. We are not perfect, but we try our level best to be so. And this is why when the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ, the best of you are those best to whom? To their wives, to their families. And the Prophet tells us, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the best of women is the one who bears children, is the one who's kind to her husband, is the one when her husband oppresses her, not she oppresses him, the husband, when he is wrong and he oppresses her, the Prophet says, she goes to him, she takes his hand and says, by Allah, I will not go to bed, I will not sleep until you are satisfied with me and you forgive me. Who would do this? If we manage to do this, you will enslave your husband with your kindness. If the husband is generous and kind and loving to his wife, he will enslave her. And then we would have happiness in the marriages. May Allah Azza wa Jal make all our marriages trouble-free, and whenever trouble or conflict arise, may Allah Azza wa Jal guide us and grant us the wisdom to solve them in the way that He loves and is pleased with. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. وصلى الله وسلم